We lived through it. We made it. It's over.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious accident, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at thehusbandandwifelawteam.com. That's husbandandwifelawteam.com. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today for free by downloading that Circle K app. It's Groundhog's Day, right? You all know what that is. We've all seen it. Punxsutawney Phil gets pulled out of his home, a stump, whatever the hell it is, and then they see if it sees its shadow. Yeah, it's stupid. We know that. As a matter of fact, there are more groundhogs than just Punxsutawney Phil, and he actually has one of the worst percentages of predicting whether winter will last, 39%. He kind of sucks at his job. We know some other people that kind of suck at their job, and thank God that our own Groundhog Day is finally over. We were all Phil Connors in the movie Groundhog Day, where we felt like we were trapped in the perpetual cycle of, oh my God, it's been 25 days and there's no head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. They're getting embarrassed by Sala and all these other guys. And oh my God, the sky's falling. It's not anymore. Now, we thought we were in for another at least few days of it because we wake up on Sunday morning to the news of Clint Kubiak going to be the Raiders head coach. And we all went, okay, here we go again. Because on Saturday night, we find out the Cardinals don't get their interview until 7 p.m. He spent the entire day with the Raiders, wine and dine and schmoozing, the whole thing. And then at 7, he went, yeah, come on in, guys. I'll hear what you have to say. Wi-Fi's good? Oh, okay. Thanks. Enjoy your flight back. We'll let you know tomorrow morning. And the Cardinals promptly had been talking to Mike LaFleur, obviously, got the deal done quickly, and they now have their new head coach, Mike LaFleur. And, you know, we can be upset about the process. I think it was amazingly embarrassing still. I think that they never should have even bothered with the interview on Saturday. They could have done this a handful of days ago. They could have done this on Tuesday or Wednesday when their two-day interview process ended with LaFleur and actually gotten some praise for it on a big stage from the fans last week. Instead, you do the Kubiak interview. It leads to people questioning things. It's just an embarrassing way to start this entire thing with Mike LaFleur. Now, put it all aside. Don't let that taint your view of Mike LaFleur, because I believe that Mike LaFleur is a guy that has a lot of potential to come in here and change things, to come in here and give you an offense that actually fits with the modern NFL. Does he have his question marks? Yeah, of course. Hasn't called plays since he was with the Jets. In fact, he called 3 games worth of plays in the 3 years he was offensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay calls their plays. With the Jets, he had the 25th and 26th offense when he called plays. He also had a quarterback rotation that would rival some of the worst years in Arizona Cardinals history. That was the reality of what he dealt with. Zach Wilson was his big-name quarterback. Oh, there you go. He actually made Mike White and the slowly deteriorating corpse of Joe Flacco look good. Somehow he's still playing. I mean, let that wrap around your mind. But, he had flashes that you could see. He's from the McVay and Shanahan tree. He knows what he's doing in terms of creating a unique offense. He's been around it, he's experienced it. And he had this to say, if we have that quote, Damon, about joining the Cardinals. He said, having competed against them in the NFC West so many times in recent years, I know the type of talent and toughness the team has and cannot wait to get to Arizona to hit the ground running. Okay, I'll let you behind the curtain. I'm 95% sure the PR staff wrote this, because usually when they do these kind of press releases, the PR staff will write it and the individual will approve it. That's how they had it so fast after all the news broke and everything. So I'm sure he's excited. I'm sure he's looked at the roster and is excited to work with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson. I'm sure there's some excitement here. But there's a lot of work that he has to do. And the first thing on the docket is actually getting coaching staff that can help him, because he's inexperienced. And you can't go down the road that Jonathan Gannon went and hire young, fairly inexperienced coordinators to go along with you. Because what? That'll lead you down the same path that you're just down. Mike LaFleur has to have the staff with him to get the job done, because the NFL is not a one-man job. Not on the field, not off the field. You have to have the right coordinators to go along with the LaFleur, especially the defensive coordinator. The head of the defense has to be somebody with experience. You got to put him in a situation to succeed. And you know what that's going to take? Money. Spending money. Doing what it takes, whatever it takes, to get the kind of coordinator that can help lift up Mike LaFleur on the other side of the ball. Because this first year may be a little rough offensively. If Jacoby Brissett's your starter, or Malik Willis, or whatever guy you get off the trash heap, Kirk Cousins, if he's your starter, there will be growing pains, and it likely won't be the most successful offensive year we've ever seen. That's the reality of where they are. That's where they are offensively. Will they be better than last year? Yeah. Will they be more creative than last year? Yeah. Will they probably put up some more points on occasion? Almost certainly. But I don't think they will be a world-beating offense yet. So the defense, where supposedly there's a massive amount of talent that we never saw come to fruition under Gannon and Rallis, who are you getting there to raise the floor? Who are you getting there to help him out? Who are you getting on this staff that has head coaching experience potentially, that can help him understand the little things that it takes to run an organization? We found out that he's going to be play calling. That's the report out there. So if he's the play caller offensively, the offensive coordinator means a little bit less. And I'm sure he'll pluck somebody from the Rams tree, and everybody will feel good about that. But the defensive side of the ball is going to take that scratch. You're going to have to pay to get him a good defensive coordinator in the building. And you have to identify the right guy. And Raheem Morris, who a lot of people wanted, he went straight to San Francisco the second he didn't get the head coaching job here. Anthony Weaver, I don't necessarily see it. So who are you going out? Who are you getting, and is it going to make the defense successful? Because without a successful defense, he does not have a chance to have a successful team here, because he's going to have to go through growing pains and figure out who the quarterback is and how to play alongside him. Now, LaFleur in interviews talked about how in the system with McVay, they would tailor the system to the talent that they had. It's not a system that is just stuck in its ways, like Drew Petzing trying to not pass the ball when you have no running backs left. Yeah, hopefully this is more creative to fit the guys and scheme people into better situations, and hopefully hide some of the blemishes that likely will be your starting quarterback position. Because guess what? I highly doubt that it's going to be Kyler Murray, even if LaFleur wants to work with him. Sorry to burst that bubble that a lot of people on the internet have, but Kyler Murray was not treated the best way. The reports were maybe that wasn't an injury, maybe that was a soft benching that went on. So why is that guy going to want to turn around and rejoin your franchise just because there's a new coach? He's been there. He's done that. I will give Mike Bidwell a little credit, Michael Bidwell. The fact that he went out and got an offensive coach. In the middle of this search, it felt like they had changed their mind. They were going to find leader of men and defensive coordinator turned head coach kind of guy. And instead they went offense. And guess what? The last 2 times they went offensive head coach, in fact, the last 3 times that they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs, no problem with an offensive head coach. And I like that. I think that is a path to success in today's NFL, and they went the right direction. So credit to Monty Ossenfort and Michael Bidwill for doing that right. Despite the fact that it was an ass-backwards way to get there, it was like the old Apple Maps compared to Google. They tried to drive us into the lake first, but then we finally got where we were going, and that's okay. We'll let it be for now. But I think Mike LaFleur has a very good chance to figure out how to be a good offensive coach in the NFL. We've seen what McVay assistants, in particular offensive coordinators, can do as head coaches in this league, and there's an opportunity to succeed. You just have to find a way to do it. Yeah, we went through Groundhog's Day. We went through driving the train on the tracks with Punxsutawney Phil riding along with us. We threw the toaster in the bathtub a few times, and we kept waking up in the same situation. But guess what? On Sunday morning, we broke free. And by middle of the day, Sunday, the Cardinals had their coach in Mike LaFleur. And now it's time to see if the next generation of Arizona Cardinals can be a little bit better, hopefully a hell of a lot better, than the last one. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the dog behind the desk, Damon. What's up, my man? How are you?
What's up?
Good.
I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to make this work or not, but I'm happy that I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I saw the effort on the screen, and I appreciate you doing that. Look, man, what do you make of the hiring? You were the Cardinals producer for a very long time. You know ball. What do you make of Mike LaFleur as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals?
It's not like the craziest reference of all time, but it has a lot of that feeling of like you're looking around at the bar late at night. You're like, everybody that I've tried to talk to has already gone home with somebody else. And then who's there? Oh, it's Mike LaFleur. And you know what? It's not the worst option in the world. Like, I think you can convince yourself that this is an option that makes a lot of sense for this team. He knows the division. He's been the type of, in and around a lot of these NFC West coaches, whether it's, working for Saleh when he was with the Jets, or whether it was, working with McVay, or obviously, it's not the same division, but Matt LaFleur, his brother, has been very successful. It feels like, this is a guy who has been in and around a lot of great football minds who, you want a piece of that. You look at those, football minds that I just listed, and you say, I want my version of that coach, and hopefully Mike LaFleur can be that for this team.
Look, I don't think it's 2 a.m. at the bar. That would have been Vance Joseph, right? And that would have been like 3 a.m. and you're still waiting outside the bar. And
yeah,
you went, you know what, time to go home. And
no, that's a phone call. You're already home, and you're like, "What's up, Vance? Do you want to just come over or something?"
You up? You up? I feel like this was more like 11:30. You struck out with a couple tens at the bar. You see a 7.5, and you're like, you know what? In the right light, that's a 9. And I feel like that's where the Cardinals are. And I think that is really what you're hoping for. A guy that maybe you're a year too early on. A guy that maybe will have some speed bumps in year 1, but turns into the guy that really is going to be a success in the long term. And I think that's our biggest hope and the best case scenario with Mike LaFleur. But if you don't set him up for success, if you do not give him the coaching staff, if you do not give him the players and free agency in the draft to execute what he's hoping to, none of this will matter. And that's the biggest problem with the Cardinals, is that they fall into the same trap. You bring in a guy, you think, oh, this guy will do X, Y, and Z. You either don't give him the staff, you don't give him the players, or you've completely misjudged the situation with the coach. So this is not a slam dunk. This is not a given. There's so much that's still going to determine success here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you're put in a tough spot, right? You still have Michael Bidwill to deal with. You still have Monty Ossenfort, who I think, we had a lot of hope for at certain times, but it's been lackluster. Like, let's call it like it is. The rosters that Monty Ossenfort built have not been good enough in the first 3 years of his tenure. So, yeah, he's working against the 8 ball a little bit. I think, you could make that argument that almost every Cardinals coach is to some extent, right? This organization is not, flush with success and just a reign of dominance. And this division makes it just 100 times harder because you're looking at the Rams, the Seahawks, the Niners, and those are the most successful 3 NFC organizations over the last decade or so. So it's a tough job. I think you're right, though, that you're trying to find him early. You're trying to find him before, it's a situation where maybe he would have been one of the most coveted coaches out there on the market. I do think that there are a lot of things that, are positives that are pros that you can hang your hat on here.
You said 8-ball. I was thinking of former general manager, but you're 100% right. In the toughest division in football, you're sitting there, and now you've got a guy that at least has some insight into one of the beasts of that division in the Rams, and hopefully he can help your defensive coordinator understand a little bit more about them the 2 times you play. I want to say a big thank you to all the bias in the chat. Great to see Alex, Hunter, hello, Chocolate, Shaft, Jose, everybody in there. Really appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. There are well over 150 in here. We want to hit 50 likes or more by the time the show is over. Alex in the chat says, in terms of the Cardinals, he is the one looking for a real relationship at the bar, not the hottest, but might be one of the best guys around. Did you just say Mike LaFleur has a great personality? Is that what we're saying? He's not hot, but great personality.
He's got a lot going for him.
I guess when you stand next to Sean McVay, being hot is probably
he's got a cool
tough.
He's got a cool car, Espo. He drives a nice car. His house is sick. Like, he's got a cool bachelor pad. He's got some things going for him.
Yeah, in the right light, he's got got that look that you want. Sure. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Shaft says, hell, his father is a coach, so he's been raised with football since he was in diapers. That works. I like it. By the way, apparently, Hello thinks I said something that I didn't while I was saying hi to everybody. I'm not reading that hello, but thanks for being there. Anthony says, keep K1 for sure. That is not going to happen. I just do not see that happening at all when it comes to this team. If I'm Kyler Murray, I don't think he wants to be there. Alex says, I didn't say he wasn't hot, just not the hottest. Okay, that's fair. That's never been said about me either, but we'll go with that as well. Thank you all for being here. If you've not hit that subscribe button, do it right now. We are on the race to 50K. We're under 400 subscribers needed to get there by Super Bowl. We got to get there by Sunday. So if you are not subscribed, please become a subscriber today. If you are and you want to help us out a little bit more, hit that join button, become a member of the Supporters Club today. $5 going to get you a free super chat. It's going to get you unlocked emojis that you can use, and it's also going to get you exclusive content. So become a supporter member or subscribe to the channel today. Right after halftime, we're going to welcome in one of my favorite young talents in football right after this. And I went with somebody that a chiropractor suggested me. Yeah, dumb on my part. If I'd done my research, I would have found the husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer, and the group over there. They would have taken care of me and helped make the situation so much better than it was, for a simple reason that they actually care. They believe in what they do so much that you can walk away at any time if you're not happy with what's going on, because they know that if they have to go to trial, they're going to take care of you because they are certified in serious injury and wrongful death law. Only 1% of lawyers in the Arizona bar are certified, and they are over at the husband and wife law team. So give them a call today. If you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first. It's 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. And no, that's not Damon driving around on a Saturday night. That's Phoenix Raceway. That's right. And there are tickets available for the March 5th through the 8th weekend out there at Phoenix Raceway. NASCAR and the NTT IndyCar Series weekend at Phoenix Raceway. They're racing on the same weekend. Hell, they're racing on the same day on the same track. Not at the same time, though. Safety first. And if you want the best experience in motorsports, they've got you covered because you can get the infield pass where you're going to get that from Desert Diamond Casinos. You're going to get it to meet the drivers, see the garages, walk the track, and you're going to get a pre-race concert. It is the best experience in all of motorsports at the best venue in all of motorsports. It's beautiful. You're going to want to secure your tickets now at the link in our description because they're going fast. You have a great weekend, March 5th through 8th. A big thanks to Gunna for playing halftime for us. An amazing performance. Gunna, my favorite. Glad to have the performance here today. Damon loved it as well. Our next guest, I don't know if he loved the halftime show or not like the chat did, but I got to welcome in Alex D'Agostino, the great writer from GoPHNX.com. As I said, one of my favorite young minds in football and baseball and anything he really writes about. Alex, how are you today?
Doing great, Espo. Happy to be here. Happy the Cardinals finally have a head coach.
Oh, thank God, right? What do you make of Mike LaFleur and the hiring? We'll talk a little bit about the search after this, but what do you think about Mike LaFleur?
Yeah, it's hard to look at a situation like this where you come in last in the coaching search and say that you got it right. You made the right choice. But I think that is kind of what happened here. I think once you sort of weeded out the unrealistic options, Mike LaFleur was probably the best option you had to look for an offensive turnaround, a fresh set of ideas. And I think they got it right despite how agonizing it was to get there.
I mean, when you look at the process, and you just called it agonizing, in the end, it wasn't surprising to me. I think that this was kind of what I assumed would likely happen. When you say you're going to cast a wide net, that usually just means you have no idea where you're going to go. So you're going to talk to a lot of people. I mean, it led them to Ron Rivera, Anthony Weaver, Campanelli, like all over the map. And from reports from Diana Rossini, it also sounded like all over the thought process from offense to, we'll go defense and leader of men back to offense. Do you think that this was something that was damaging, or do you think the fact that they wound up landing on a guy that the fan base can be at least optimistic about saves face in the end?
I think it's like playing a game and winning a game ugly. You don't really like how you got there, but at the same time, as long as the result ends up the way that you want it, you can kind of be okay with that. Ultimately, is it John Harbaugh? No. But I think it's something, like you said, that kind of the fans and the people who have been involved in this, emotionally invested, can get a little bit excited about. And I think you can't take that for granted as a win. I think Bo said it felt like they went 3-20 after going 3-14 in the offseason. And it really did feel like that. These things take time, and I understand that you can't have these things happen overnight, but it did kind of feel like they went into it without a very clear plan. And if they hadn't landed a LaFleur or somebody like that, it might have been pretty damaging.
Yeah, I feel like the Kubiak thing was the one that left you scratching your head, because you really didn't think they had a shot based on everything that we had heard. You had just had the great interview with LaFleur based on everything that was reported. And then you take this 11th hour meeting in Seattle. It felt like to say you took it. That's the one that left me scratching my head a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I put that on Twitter. I was like, there's just no reason to chase after Kubiak at this point. And quite frankly, I think an argument could be made that LaFleur might be a better fit in terms of being a leader. Maybe not so much from a play calling perspective. We don't know. But I think there was no reason to chase after Kubiak in that moment when you just were obviously impressed with what LaFleur offered the day before. And, it's fine. It worked out. But I think that was teetering on disaster right there for kind of letting LaFleur leave the building. I mean, if he turned them down the next day, that would have been pretty bad.
You look at the coaching staff, and that's the next big question here in terms of where they're going to head. Have you gotten the sense in what you've read or what you've heard in terms of anywhere they're looking when it comes to defensive coordinator?
I'm seeing Gus Bradley. I think Albert Breer put that out there, and I think he said it was between the Cardinals and the Titans. And the Cardinals have the edge there because Robert Saleh is going to call plays in Tennessee. And so I think that would be an interesting option, kind of a veteran option. He's got some experience, some success. Or maybe an Anthony Weaver. I think Raheem Morris might have been the best possible option, but smart people like Kyle Shanahan agree, and so that's no longer an option. I could see a Bradley or a Weaver.
Do you have a preference when it comes to me? It's like, okay, just get a guy with experience that is more of an elder statesman. They both seem to kind of fit that bill. Is there anything that in particular you look at from a defensive coordinator standpoint and go, man, I really need that, and I don't know if one of these two checks that box?
I think they're pretty even in terms of that. I'd say like maybe like a little bit more of a personal relatability from maybe a slightly younger guy like Weaver. But at the same time, Bradley's got a little bit more experience, a little bit more success. So I'd say it's kind of a wash there for different reasons. Like I said, my preference would have been Raheem Morris. I think that would have been a home run, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he might be on the table as an option based on going through the coaching search, but it was pretty obvious once he found out he wasn't the Cardinals' choice. He had always had San Francisco kind of penciled in as where he wanted to head. All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I just want your opinion. Not based on sourcing or anything. Kyler Murray, does he have a chance to be on this roster based on the LaFleur hire, or are we filing the divorce papers as we speak?
I think you better start looking for a lawyer. To be honest, I would love to see it work out, and I think a lot of people in this fan base are still holding on to that hope. I think absolutely there's probably like a slightly more chance that he would stay with LaFleur as opposed to if Gannon was retained, but we're talking like 0.01 to 0 here. I think we're pretty close to Kyler Murray being. I think it's just time for a fresh start for him, for the organization. As much as I would be intrigued to see what LaFleur could do with him, I just think that organizationally they're going to want to move on from him. And that's probably that. Like, they probably had this conversation with LaFleur. Like, you probably don't interview him without talking about Kyler Murray and talking about the quarterback situation. And he signed a 5-year deal. And do you think Kyler Murray's going to be here for 5 years? No, I think Mike LaFleur is going to get to pick a quarterback. And I think that's a very good thing for the future of the organization.
Tell everybody about what's the latest from you on gophnx.com.
Yeah, I've got an article up there about the hire, some nerdy stats. I even used EPA, if anybody in here even knows what that is. I barely know what it is. And then I'll have something coming out after the press conference too.
And let me just add, Espo, my guy Alex is joining me on PHNX D-backs tomorrow. He's a man that wears many hats.
All right.
Right.
Well,
utility man.
That's what we like. We like 5-tool players around here. Unfortunately, we got like me that's just a giant tool and then a bunch of talented people. He's Alex D'Agostino. You can follow him at AlexDagAZ on the socials. Always appreciate it, my friend.
Appreciate it, Espo. Thanks, man.
There is another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. A big thank you to the dog behind the desk. You can follow him at Damon Dog. Is that correct? DAWG?
Yes, sir.
On the socials. You can follow the program at PHNX_sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, give Mike LaFleur a chance. It's not his fault that the front office didn't get it right away, but they got there eventually. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.